What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on the recent success of the Indiana Pacers, right? And with the Indiana Pacers, their recent success, like what effect would that success have on the WNBA and Caitlin Clark? Because remember, the Indiana Pacers and the Indiana Fever, that's the same team, right? And there's a lot of there's a lot of buzz surrounding both of these teams. Caitlin Clark with the Fever, then you have a lot of buzz surrounding the Indiana Pacers with the guy Tyrese Halliburton, right? And so now, you know, I had this discussion with a few friends of mine, and some of them believe that the success of the Indiana Pacers will have a negative effect on on the Fever, and I tend to agree with that myself. I think that when the NBA is up and the NBA is doing better, I think that will have a negative effect on the WNBA, right? And so by that, what I mean is now the WNBA, first of all, and Caitlin Clark, like they have been playing like you really getting, in my opinion, you're seeing some really good basketball from some of the teams in the WNBA. The Indiana Fever being one of the teams. Then you have who is it? The Liberty. They're playing some really good basketball. I think the Minnesota Lynx are playing really good basketball. So you have a handful of good teams in the WNBA that really playing some good basketball. And those teams, in my opinion, also, besides playing good basketball, they're benefiting, one, from the like the popularity of Caitlin Clark. Two, they're benefiting from like the slump in ratings in the NBA. So a lot of fans, especially diehard fans who wanted to see some good basketball and was not really, they was kind of turned off by the NBA, where you was getting like a whole bunch of 3-pointers and no defense being played and stuff like that. So diehard basketball fans were really turned off by the NBA because of the style of, and the quality of play that you seen in the NBA. But recently and throughout these playoffs, there's more excitement about the NBA. And the reason why there's more excitement is because you have two teams now going to the finals, the Indiana Pacers and the OKC Thunder. And their style of basketball of playing is almost, in my opinion, is like a throwback style of basketball. And so by that, I mean, you're seeing these guys, they're playing tough defense at one end. And then in the half court, you're seeing these guys utilize all three phases of the game. So you're getting the 3-pointers. They're not shooting as many 3-pointers, but you're getting the 3-pointers. Then you're getting, on both teams, the reemergence of that mid-range game, right? And that's what's been missing from the NBA. A lot of teams, most teams in the NBA was not really utilizing that mid-range game like both of these teams are. And so when you have teams that utilize that mid-range game, it makes the game more exciting. And a more exciting basketball game is what makes people more excited about watching this style of basketball play. This is close to what the formula was back in like in the 90s and the early 2000s. It was more strategy to the game. And now, so you're seeing strategy being utilized in the NBA. What's his name? Shea Gilgris, the guy from OKC. He has a great mid-range game and a turnaround jumper. And so that makes them, with that type of game, that keeps the pressure on his opponent. So if his opponent comes down and they shoot 2 or 3 threes in a row and they miss, and the OKC Thunder come down and they hit two pointers in a row, that really right there, that keeps the pressure on the other team. That's, in my opinion, that's why the Timberwolves are not in it, because they didn't, Anthony Edwards refused to utilize that mid-range game. And also, in my opinion, is why the New York Knicks are not in it. Their mid-range game is better than the Timberwolves, but because they have a smaller guy in Brunson trying to utilize that mid-range game, and he's going up against guys who are longer and more athletic than him, then it was hard for him to score. So he had to really work for what baskets he did get. And so the fans are really excited about the style that you see these two teams playing. And I think these teams are young, so the excitement they're drumming up is not just for these playoffs and into the finals. I think the excitement that these two young teams are drumming up is for the future of the NBA. And I think that's going to bring back diehard basketball fans who were really, kind of turned off about, like I said, the style of play that was going on. And so when the NBA is doing better, I think that's not really going to bode well for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever or the rest of the WNBA. And I know people don't like to hear that. And some people that I spoke to were saying, "Well, Caitlin Clark is special, and she is going to, people really want to see her play." And I believe that. I think that, like, within her fan base, I don't think that her fan base is going to abandon her for for what's going on with the Indiana Pacers. I think that fan base, Indiana, will be shared by the Pacers and the Fever. But the overall picture of the NBA, I think, is going to attract more people to men's basketball, and that is going to cause, in my opinion, a decline in women's basketball as far as the viewers and the people that are watching that. Also, I think another thing, like, women don't really support the WNBA like men support the NBA. So if the men go back to watching, because and my reason for saying this, part of my reason for going and watching the WNBA was because, like, the NBA basically was boring. You just watching a 3-point contest or either a layup drill, in the NBA. So they got kind of boring. But now you got these guys in the NBA. You have teams in there that are just playing. They're playing at all three levels on that offensive end, and there's more strategy to the game, and it's more exciting right now. And I think a more exciting NBA is not really going to bode well for the uh, for the WNBA. Right now, that's not saying that the WNBA is going to fall off or anything like that, but you got to be honest about the situation. You know, and when it comes to, like, sponsors and overall support from the league, I think more people, the sponsors are going to go with the NBA over the WNBA, because that's where the big money at, as far as, like, ticket sales, TV, merchandise, like, that's where all the big money is at, and so I know people don't want to hear that, but I do think that now there is still going to be some buzz around certain teams in the WNBA. The Fever being one of them, like I said. Then you have the New York Liberty and that Minnesota Lynx team. I think there's going to be, they're going to continue to be able to draw. But overall, man, it's just not, in my opinion, it's just not really going to be. This is not a good time for the WNBA, I mean, for the NBA to really pick it up. I think that if the WNBA had to continue to, I mean, if the NBA had continued to slide like they was with the older guys in there, then the WNBA might have been able to generate some more momentum. But yeah, this in my opinion, I think the reemergence of the NBA is not really going to go well for the WNBA. And it's not because, like the product that the WNBA is putting on the floor is not good. It's just that, I think it's going to come down to a financial thing for like sponsors, because that's where the big money at. And then overall, when the NBA is right, when the NBA is doing what the NBA is supposed to be doing, it's just a better product, And so that's my take on it. What I want to know though is what do you all think? Do you think that these two leagues, the NBA and the WNBA, can coexist when both leagues are doing good? When but it just seems like when one league is up, the other league is down. When one league is down, the other one is up. And so that's all I'm saying. So let me know if you agree. Do you think that the WNBA will be hurt by the reemergence, or the NBA just gaining more popularity and getting more buzz because of these young guys that are coming into the NBA and really just playing a more exciting style of basketball? So let me know what you think about this. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Um, and with that being said, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.